This is the full build of the P-51 Mustang, the brand new Eduard kit in 1/72 scale. It's a 2024 tooling, and I built this model kit a few months back, and yeah, like all the kits in my full build series, this one as well is Rustyscale approved. Because only the bravest and greatest kits of them all, who are landing here on my workbench, can approve for the Rustyscale Badge of Honor. And this one certainly did. So there are actually 4 episodes packed in one video, and also additionally including a new Eduard decal covering film removing video showing you a technique you might not have heard of yet. So stay tuned, because we're about to find out. Let's go. So today we have something light and easy and not offending, contrary to one of my latest videos where some people got a little bit upset, but the point is they shouldn't have watched the video in the first place anyway, because it was not dedicated to them. Anyhow, today we got something easy, light and beautiful. Yeah, because this arrived just today. It's the Royal class of the Eduard 1/72 scale P-51D Mustang in a dual combo kit. Now I had to pre-order this directly from the Eduard website. So the dual combo costed me 35 euros to order straight from Eduard website. Now if I compare this just to my recent build, it's a Heller model, one of the fully revised Heller molds. It also costs like 30 euros, like only 5 euros less. And it's a very old, very bad fitting and nerve-wracking kit in there. And here, I think it's quite the opposite. And in my creativity killer video, which I'm gonna link up here right now, I came to the conclusion, because I do not only have the best but also the smartest subscribers, that from time to time it is a good thing to get one of these limited editions luxury premium kits, which offers a lot and contains a lot of accessories and all kinds of stuff you're dreaming about. Yeah, and this is one of them days. So let's have a look. So with the box art, I think they already knocked it out of the park. I was not expecting a box art like this at all for this kit once when they announced it earlier this year. And you see those Royal class glossy kind of stamps here and the golden silhouette of the Mustang. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly show you here what is on the box. You see the different versions. And already here, when we have a glimpse at those versions, they look crazy cool, man. All kind of different colors and very, very beautiful decals, nose arts and whatever. It's fantastic. There is even a RAF version over here. Oh, there are 2 RAF versions, right? So yeah, it has 2 kits. I saw it in, oh, have a look at this. The Mighty 8 P-51D Eduard. Can you focus on that medal? I got a medal now. So you do not only get 2 kits and a whole heap of brassin parts, you also get a medal. Nice, Eduard, nice. Okay, so these must be the plugs, right? You can place these to the landing gear bay once you have pre-painted everything. Very cool, good idea. They come up with innovative stuff all the time these days, huh? So, and we have everything, it's a dual combo. So we have everything is double trouble. Also we notice here there are already 3 canopies. There is 1 front part and 3 of the rear parts. Here is one of the main sprue frames. Let's have a look. The 2 fuselage halves here, they are full of details. Like it's covered with rivets and panel lines and a lot of stuff like bolts, and it's very beautiful. This is the lower wing part. Check out this middle section here. the upper surface of the wings. Ooh, man, I mean, this is very promising. Very promising. And you know it's an Eduard fit, so I don't think we have to worry about fitting issues. This is not a fully revised Heller mold. Now, we're not going through all the parts, everything, every detail. You can bite yourself if you want to have a look so that close. But what I want to show you here is the interior, because we saw on the fuselage half on the inside, or I saw it, I didn't show it to you because there is no interior details. The interior details are here, separate parts, like it often comes these days. Beautiful, bro. Very, very nice. Very beautiful stuff. So these were sprues number 1 and 2, and this is sprue number 3 in the dual combo. It contains the drop tanks, the second half of the propeller, and all kinds of small parts. Now, let's have a look at this here. Brassin. Let's go. We have to cut it open. We will cut it open. No, hold on. We will cut this open. It's great. I'm always happy if we have to cut something open because I can show off my great knife. Ooh. Okay, so that's the jewelry here. You see, 2 brassin seats and the exhaust and wheel set. See? The 2 exhaust sets here. Whew. Very beautiful wheel. Perfectly detailed. That was the best brass around, as they say. Then, of course, we have a PE set here. Voila. And another one over here. Actually, you have 3 instrument panels. 3 PE instrument panels, right? I don't know exactly why, but must be from the different versions. So we are good equipped also with PE parts. Not too much though, you know? Don't go crazy on the PE, bro. Then here, the decut masks for masking the canopy pieces, the windows, and also the wheels, of course. Oof. Let's have a look at this huge, check out this huge decal sheet. But yeah, if you provide 14 marking options, I guess, yeah, that's needed. My God, this is crazy, man. Here you have an arsenal. This is like an arsenal, man. Very nicely done. These are all sections. You can cut out the entire piece if you decide to go for this or for the other version. Oh man, this one is a crazy one. What the hell is that? This is going to be wrapped around the entire aircraft, or what is it? Surely not going to build this version. But maybe this one here. Or this one here. Creamer's dream, baby. Crazy stuff, man. I told you, man, they knocked it out of the park. Then we also have the double trouble stencil sheet here to build 2 complete models, all the stencils. It's quite a lot of stencils, but yeah, I think it's manageable. So last but not least, let's have a look at the instruction sheet. Of course, here we have a little information about the history of the P-51D Mustang. Then the overview, what is on the sprues. And then we have it Eduard style, like very informative, very clear, the way we are used to, and I guess the way we love it. At least me, I do love the Eduard instructions. I think most of the time they are quite clear. The only thing which I see here can be a bit confusing. You gotta have your stuff together looking at this here. You see? You really have to know, like, which version are you going to do, which option you're going to pick here and there and everywhere. You see all the markings. I mean, this is like you really have to take care. Because, yeah, it's very detailed. You see, always you have to make sure that you do the right thing for the right marking. Especially there are 14 different markings. 14. I mean, that's insane. So let's have a look here. Caroline's Vergeltungswaffe. What? Really? Yeah. Caroline's Vergeltungswaffe. Yeah, why not? Why not? Here's one with olive drab, dark green. One with the red nose and the Donald Duck. It's not Trump, but it's Duck. Another olive drab version. Short fuse Sally. Don't mess with her. Now here we have Angel's Playmate. Beautiful one. The yellow nose. And here's the Creamer's Dream, man. Creamer's Dream. That's fantastic. That's fantastic with the pin-up girl. Great, great, man. With the red tail, the red nose, man. Looks cocky, huh? Just the way I like it. And this one is also crazy. This one is also crazy here, the Mary Mac version. Look at the tail, man. This is the Flying Dutch, man. Oh, that's the one. I think that's the one with this crazy decal. This one here. This one here is the one with the crazy blue decal, I guess. It goes here all around. 2 times. Wrap it around the aircraft 2 times or something. The Enchantress. It's a bit ugly. That's a bit ugly, I have to say, but yeah. It's just my opinion. Yeah, old lady here. Another pin-up girl version. And the one with the yellow nose. Like the anti-glare section here. It's completely yellow. I don't know if that really helps, but most probably. The RAF went with the yellow. And then the typical RAF camo, red nose, and even a shark mouth. Even a shark mouth decal. Wow, that's crazy, huh? Then last but not least here, all the stencils. And that's it. Wow, I don't know, I'm stunned. How about you? Let me know in the comment section. Did you also order that one? Anyone? Maybe even start building it yet? I will start soon. I will start building this kit soon. Because I think after my fully revised Heller mold, SU-27, which is giving me a very hard time, I deserve this. Yes, from time to time, we need this. We need a special limited edition kit to set the tone after we had a very challenging build. Like the fully revised Heller molds. That's just, I mean, that's by coincidence just what I experienced lately. So please let me know in the comment section, what do you think about this kit? Do you love it as much as me because it's a P-51D? Or what is your preference? Let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Hold on. See you in the next one. Bye-bye. So before we get started, please do not forget to like the video so it will spread out like wildfire. And if you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. Please subscribe so YouTube will think this channel is actually good. So here are the parts, like the 2 fuselage halves. I already assembled the air intake down there. There's also a PE part coming with it. That's the other side, the other half of the fuselage. And you can see here also a few small parts that I have assembled, which I want to paint separately. This is the brassin printed seat that I was talking about. This is, it looks like a cage, right? That's for the landing gear, the back one, the back wheel. So as I usually do for priming the interior and cockpit, because there's not too much light entering the cockpit once the build is finished, I always use gray primer and not black primer. For the outside, for the entire model, actually, the outer body, I will use black primer first. But for the interior, I prefer gray, because the paint that you will spray over it will just appear more bright in the end once it has dried. So most of the interior is actually a combination of black and interior green. There is also a bit olive drab. That's, I think, mainly for the seat. And I kind of stopped using pure black for painting the interior. Or, yeah, I think in general on models. Here I used smoke black. I will use any other type variation of black, which is not the 100% pure black, because I think it's just too strong, you know? And if you use a black which already has some gray parts, or any other paint, any other color a bit mixed in, it's not 100% very dark pure black, it will look much better because it's already looking like type of fainted a bit. So for the first time, I'm using the Vallejo metal color in these big bottles here. It's not like the Model Air metallic. These are the ones which I used before. Here I used steel for the interior parts. It doesn't really matter which exact tone you use there, if it's silver or steel or aluminum. This will be in the interior. It will be visible, but not like 100% very clearly visible, so it's okay. Now for the seat belts, I use this ice yellow. That's a model color. It's quite thick. It's not like a Model Air. It's not made for airbrushing. You can airbrush it, but you need to thin it down quite a bit. I think it's a perfect color to paint the seat belts, for instance. It's a very useful color. I never thought when I bought it, I think I bought it for some Japanese kit. Yeah, for the torpedo. It was a small part of a torpedo which was in this color, but I'm very glad I bought it because I wouldn't have bought it otherwise. So ice yellow, it's a cool color. So I wanted to test the polyurethane gloss varnish here, because I think it has a special, I don't know how you say that. It has a special finish, you know, it has a special ability on very shiny metal colors to keep the shine. Because if your gloss varnish is not as shiny as the metal paint, it will dull it down. So it will kind of turn down the beautiful chrome effect, the beautiful shiny effect you will have. And this polyurethane gloss varnish of Vallejo is quite useful for this, because you can also see it when you have it in the bottle. It's not milky, you know, it's clear. Because most of the varnishes, the acrylic varnishes, for sure, they are milky. So yeah, they have to kind of dull it down. Even though they leave a glossy surface in finish, the polyurethane is also the one that I want to use on the outside later. So here is one side completely assembled together. So the air intake underneath, everything is weathered already a bit, but let's now apply some oil stains. Here I'm not using it really for oil stains, it's just as a weathering effect, just a layer. To add another tone to the wash that I applied. The wash was basically to create some fake shadows, and yeah, the oil stains just as an effect, a visual effect. Blue black was the one that I used for the steel paint. Also here, I think I prefer something like a blue black or a brownish but very dark brown, or a very dark gray to a real black wash. I just have the feeling that, to me, this 100% black and 100% white, they are too strong, too bright or too dark. So to create some dust effects, I used Schlammgrün, some dry pigments, and I just dry brushed those pigments onto the model, onto the parts where I wanted to have some dust effects. So as promised, here are some of the photos of the finished interior before I have assembled the two fuselage halves, and most of it will be, you know, it will be covered for eternity and nobody will ever see it again. So here we have a last look at everything, a proper look. Let's see how much will be visible in the end when the model is finished. I'm going to build it with an open canopy, so I hope a majority of it will still be visible. So as always, I just had a spontaneous idea in this non-scripted video. Please guys, leave a comment. Please rate this kit. Now, after what you have seen now, please rate the kit. Will buy from 1 to 10, like 7 out of 10 will buy. Will you get it or not? So yeah, it's Mustang time. One of my most favorite aircraft of all time. I think the design challenge on this one was solved like almost perfectly, you know. The design is just it's in itself very balanced, very nicely, you know, the curves, and it's just a beautiful aircraft. And most of all, when you see it flying in the air, it's an incredible experience. Now, on 2 occasions, I had the opportunity to actually see one, and believe me, you know, it was goosebumps all over. It's crazy. And also, when that thing comes flying in directly, like straight at you, you almost don't see it. You almost can't see it. The silhouette gets so thin, and then the NMF, you know, the silver, the metal in the sun, like it's almost invisible. Like when you see it, it's already too late. But I hope it's not too late for you to like the video if you enjoyed the content. No, let's say like the video if you think the P-51D Mustang is one of the most beautiful aircraft ever. Dislike the video if you think it's one of the most ugliest ever. A BNF or an NMF, a natural metal finish, or a bare metal finish, it's not BFF, okay? It's something completely different. Is a very fun and cool task, but also delicate, because you gotta be extremely careful when you touch it and handling it in between the painting and the sealing varnish. Speaking about varnish, it's also very important which type of varnish you use, you know, because you don't want to spoil and lose the beautiful shine of your metal color. Speaking of metal color, there are many different types of metal colors to choose from. And I have a question for you in this video concerning metal colors. So please stay tuned. Now in this video there will also be a lot of masking. Don't worry, I will not torture you by showing you how I mask, but I had to do a lot of masking in this paint shop because actually this scheme is a 6-colored scheme. Yeah, 6 colors. And it becomes more delicate when you work with metal colors. So make sure you stay with me till the end, because at the end I will show you some pictures, some photos of the finished paint job, and also I think also most of the decals already applied. Anyway, let's roll the new animation with the new audio from the original P-51 Mustang. Let's go! So one of the most difficult things when you build one of these new Eduard kits is actually picking the version or the marking option, because there are so many. In this kit alone there are 114 marking options to choose from, and it was impossible for me to do it. I just couldn't do it. So I let you guys do it. And I did a little poll on my channel. So at this point, thanks to everybody who, you know, decided to vote, decided to do the right thing and go vote. Now let's have a look at the poll, right? So we had the Creamer's Dream, the Short Fuse Sally, and the Mary Mac, the Checker Tails version. And at the moment where I had to take the decision in the step of the build, which version I'm gonna build, it was Mary Mac, the Mary Mac version in the leading position. Meanwhile that changed, but yeah, I went with the Mary Mac. Now my go-to primer is the Vallejo Surface Primer, the gloss black surface primer, if I want to paint with some metal colors. So it is my preferred primer, and I'll show you why. You will see why in a second. Just do a few coats. You need to do several coats, let it dry in between, and then lay down the next coat. I mean, you just need to wait 1 hour or something. That's the best. You could do half an hour, maybe we'll do it as well. Now this is the reason why it's my preferred black primer, because look at it. Look how it dries. It's fantastic. It's so elegant. It's absolutely shiny. It's so shiny, it's so glossy that at some parts it doesn't even look black, it looks silver. Yeah. So here I did a start with the first metal color, the Vallejo metal color, aluminum tone. It has a very high coverage, but also here to get the preferred durability, you need to apply it in several coats. I did 2 or 3 coats. The paint, I think, yeah, it dries a bit slower maybe than others, but still, it's quite fast. As an anti-glare for the nose, I used olive drab, US olive drab. Okay guys, let's do it like this. Like the video if you love natural metal finish on scale models. Dislike the video if you prefer everything to be in Tarngrün. And whoever feels generous enough to do a super thanks and donate to the channel so we can improve on the production department, I'll read your comment of the donation in the next video. In my last video, which didn't get as many views as I think it could have, David Smithson. Thanks David, you again, you're too generous. Thanks, another excellent video. So David Smithson is really a long-time viewer, and according to his opinion, it's an excellent video. So maybe you should check it out and have a look. If you have a paint job which uses 5 or 6 or more different colors, in between the colors, in between the spray sessions, there's always a lot of airbrush cleaning going on. So what I did here, the paint was like, yeah, maybe dust dry, but it hadn't really dried completely yet, and made sure that the paper towel didn't touch the olive drab surface, the surface which I painted. And also try to avoid touching it here while holding the model when I was painting and not paying attention, because that's usually like a trap for me. So for the painting here, I used I didn't show it into the camera, but it was a Vallejo Model Air Metallic steel, and it didn't spray really well, so I had to sand it down because at some parts there were imperfections, This color didn't behave really nicely. I cannot say that, no. It was a bit difficult. So up next, yellow. I used Vallejo Model Air and another masking session here. That took quite some time to mask everything for the yellow. I think that was the most time-consuming masking job of all the 700 masking jobs I did. And speaking of 700 here, I needed to do, like, you know, 100 millions and billions of coats to get a coverage of the yellow, and especially to make that metallic shine underneath disappear. Yeah, I know I could have oversprayed it before. I used yellow with another paint, so I had a nice base for the yellow. But yeah, I was impatient and I just sprayed 100 billion coats of yellow. And it worked fine. The yellow worked fine. Now the red. I used the ammo red. I thought that's a good idea. It wasn't. This paint was really giving me a hard time. I don't know, the handling, you know, when you switch between the different brands, sometimes it's difficult. And here it was really difficult because, yeah, the metal color was working really good. Also the Model Air, except of the steel. But here with the red, I had a lot of problems and it was horrible. So next I did these panels here for I think that's for the gun base. I painted this with, you can't see it on the bottle because that printing, yeah, it disappears within no time. It was matte aluminum. Okay, it's a matte aluminum color, a very nice, very good color. I would absolutely say you should have one of this. I recommend this highly. Then for the exhaust section, I had to do another masking job here. I could combine two masking jobs. So you know I like to test different type of paints and compare them to each other, so I need your help here. Please leave a comment. What is your go-to metal color, especially when it comes to acrylics? Which paints do you use? Please leave a comment, let me know down here in the section, and share your wisdom also for others to read, not only for me, but also to the other people. Just watch your mouth when you do so. Thanks a lot. And for the panels on the fuselage, alongside the fuselage, I used silver just to add another tone of metal paints because I haven't used proper silver in a long time. And I thought, why not use some silver? Again, this was an ammo color and yeah, it behaved better than the red. But yeah, the flow. It wasn't flowing as smoothly as the Vallejo ones. So the top coat of the spinner, for the top coat I used smoke black again and the tips with yellow. But underneath there is a coat of the metallic. So you still have the metallic shining through. I did some minor scratches here and there. That's actually good when you have a metallic color underneath. So you have tiny chippings, which are really actual chippings. To spice up the ugly red, I mixed it with like 1 to 5. I mixed it 1 drop of satin white in it. 50-50 ratio with thinner. Then used just this cotton bud here. Tapped the paint onto the surface. And always, you know, then roll it. First tap it, then roll it to make it blend in. That's actually the technique. Tap it and roll it, and yeah, it helped. It helped a bit. The red looks a bit more natural now. I hope it will all turn better when I do the final coat. Just the final sealing coat. I hope it will unite everything a bit better. And here is in slow-mo, my rolling move. Check this out. So I was talking about the varnish. You need the right varnish to you know, keep that beautiful shine of the metal colors. And look at this varnish. It's completely clear, almost completely clear. Usually the acrylic varnishes, they always have a milky appearance. This one does not, so it also dries more like in a clearer finish. And I do believe it can preserve this beautiful shine of the metal color just a tap better than a usual normal acrylic gloss varnish. Now this is my second video about removing the cover film of the new Eduard decals. In my first video I made kind of a test and I didn't use any decal solution, any decal adapter or something like this, no softer. And at some points when I removed the covering film, some of the paint of the decal was sticking to the covering film and I removed it from the aircraft, which I didn't really like. So it took me just some time and some brain work to prepare for the second test. But before we jump in the test straight away, I want to give you some context so that you understand the story where I'm at. Now, I was just finishing this beautiful Eduard P-51D Mustang in 1/72 scale. It's the brand new tooling of Eduard, and if you want to have a look how I did the interior and how I painted the baby, please check the videos that I link down there in the description. Of course, this brand new kit comes with the new Eduard decals with the covering film. So since the last time I didn't use any decal solution and the result was not perfect, some of the paint came off when I removed the film. Now I thought I'll be you know, more cautious, more careful, and I will use some decal softer. The decals settled down very nicely. I did the entire program, rolling it onto the surface, tap it onto the surface, brush it onto the surface, use some softer solution, let it dry. I mean, I just did the entire wellness program. And yeah, the decals settled down very nicely, really good, like looking very good. The only thing I had to do was to remove the cover film. I was about to use my Wunderwaffe method, the method that I used in my first video. Now you absolutely should check out the first video. I will link it also in the description and also up here on the screen. Here I had these checker tails decals, and it was a bit delicate because the covering film, I had to wrap the covering film around the edges of the stabilizer. So actually you can only do it on one side, wait till it's completely dry, remove the covering film before you can apply it on the other side, because otherwise the overlapping covering film will mess up everything, believe me. So that's why I was trying to really treat exactly that area around the edges of the vertical stabilizer very carefully and very good. Use an extra amount of decal softer. I didn't know at that time that maybe exactly this would become the problem, but let's find out. The first one I removed, the first covering film of the first decal was okay. The second one as well, the one on the wings, no problem. But it was on the fuselage where the problem started. A whole lot of the paint got just torn away. So I decided I don't want to mess around with these checker tail decals around the tails. So I kind of carefully cut around the edges, but as you see here, it didn't really help. When you check out the result, exactly that area around the tail where I put an extra amount of decal softer solution, the paint was also, I was tearing it off by removing the covering film. So for the lower surface, I was thinking that, you know, maybe it's better to cut it around the edges and remove the overlapping piece of the covering film first. But while I was doing this and keep adjusting the decals onto the surface, I thought like, man, look at how much paint came off with that only that one cover film of the checker tail decals that you removed. I rather will leave it on before I really know how to freaking break the curse of removing the covering film of the new Eduard decals. So I thought, okay, hold on. This requires some more testing. But before we start breaking the curse of the new Eduard decals with our second test, here's my favorite part, reading the super thanks. So that's my last video. I'm always saying whoever feels generous and gives me a super thanks, you can add a text to your donation. I will read it in my next video. So here's Lenny, 24445. He donated $5 and said, thanks for the great content. I've only done one all-metal B24 and I used Tamiya acrylic. It came out okay, but the finish was a bit rough. Now what's very important when you use metal acrylic paints, maybe also other metal paints, but especially for acrylics and especially for Vallejo, but I think that goes for all the acrylics, is the primer. You need a very, very smooth and good primer. That's why I used this beautiful Vallejo black gloss primer. Check out the video, you will see what I mean. The way it dries is fantastic. It's so beautiful. So I think that's a very important thing. I could also have polished the surface before and afterwards, before the primer and after the primer, you know, to even make sure that the surface is 100% very smooth. That's very important. Thanks a lot, Lenny. That's very generous. And we have another one by David Smithson. I told you in the last video, he's a long-time viewer, all right? David Smithson, thanks for the $4.99. He says, thanks. Your videos always put me in a good mood. Lots of modeling mojo. I love to hear this, David. And I hope this also applies to other people who are watching the video. So everybody new to the channel, welcome to the channel. Please subscribe so you get updated, you get notified when I release a new video every once and now. And yeah, welcome to the channel. Do not forget to like the video. And now let's get it on with the test, shall we? Let's go. So intelligent people who are binge watching the Rustyscale Show channel, they know this piece that I'm showing into the camera right now because that is the piece that I used for one of my acrylic testings. It is the RLM 65, I think, if I remember it correctly. So I took the RAF marking roundels, which these are like spare decals from the Eduard Mustang. So these are the Eduard decals with the covering film. And I was thinking of 3 different ways. So number 1, which is actually named with A, I will use only water, like pure water, nothing else. Then here I'm showing you the way that I treat the decals after I applied them. First I use a cotton bud and do my rolling move. Then I use the brush and brush them onto the surface, and then I let them dry. So for number B, I will use my Zaubertrank, the X1 mix. That is 1 part water, 1 part decal softer, and 1 part decal setter, okay? Mixed all together, and I just applied this first as a setting solution, the decals over it, and nothing else. And for number C, I was using also my Zaubertrank to make sure they stick properly. And I also did the same treatment for B and C as well. And after they have dried, I used some decal softening solution on number C. So it's like A is pure water, B is the Zaubertrank and nothing else, and C is the Zaubertrank and then applied some decal softer over it. Then I will also leave the entire piece, leave it to dry completely, and then we will start removing the film and see where's the difference. Because yeah, here I even went on double time. First I used the setter solution over it. I know this is supposed to be applied underneath to make sure it stays in place, but it also works when you apply it over the decal. Believe me. I had some comments who are standing out to me lately when it comes to the decals. And the comment said that you should only use water, or like, yeah, they messed it up pretty bad. They used a lot of decal solution and a lot of the paint came off. And they believe that my method worked very well in my first video because I didn't use any decal solution, any decal softer, only water. So that's what I wanted to find out. Now, the treatment was done, everything has dried. Let's find out if we can break the curse. You can see here number B had problems adjusting to that raised detail on the wing. Number C, where I used decal setter and softening solution, it was just setting very nicely around that raised detail. But on number B had a bit problem. Now it's a moment of truth. Let's remove the covering film. We start with number A, where I used water only. I gotta say that the decal set it very, very nicely onto the surface. I was only using water, man. That's something not all the manufacturers will like to hear, especially those who produce decal solutions. I will tell you my thoughts about it later in the video. I improved my method to remove the covering film a bit here in this test. I only used the brush to make the covering film loose and then completely removed it by using tweezers. These are decal tweezers. They are not sharp, so there's no danger that I can scratch the surface in any way. So removing the covering film of number B also worked properly, like kind of perfect. You can see it didn't settle perfectly around that raised detail. That's why I placed the decal over this, because I wanted to know how good can it settle. So now number C, the third one, where I used decal solution and actually was expecting the paint to stick on the covering film, because I used decal solution and I was thinking, maybe that's the problem. You shouldn't use decal solution. But as you see here, I could remove the covering film without any problems. What I have to say, it took much, much longer to get the cover film to lift up. To lift the cover film, it took a long time. But once it lifted, it went down without any problems. Even the one here, who was over that very fine detail, settled down perfectly, was no problem removing it. So yeah, now I was a bit disappointed. I was hoping that the paint will come off on number C, because that will prove my theory that maybe you should not use decal solution. But anyway, I want to say that it is shocking how good the result was with only using water, because I really think that's the way you should do it. Only use water. Once you have removed the covering film, the surface, the decal which is left, it will repel any solution. It won't sink in. I tried it, I saw the result, and I removed it before it dries, because if you have like drops of it drying, it will leave a mark. And also, what I don't know, I haven't heard anybody talk about this. But if you have a look here, let's check this out one more time. Check out the blue. The way the blue appears once you have removed the covering film, it looks faded, right? It's not one plain surface of blue, very shiny blue, as you usually have it on decals. I mean, isn't that like, these are already type of weathered and painted? Like usually you use a bit of buffer to make it look exactly like this. So I think that's a very cool plus point of the new Eduard decals, because once you remove the covering film, you will end up with already type of worn looked paint. The paint are not planes, and that's not a coincidence here. It's the same look on the USAF markings on my Mustang, and it's the same look on the Japanese roundels, the red roundels, the rising sun. It's not a plain red. It looks like worn. It is worn already. So it will, like when you pre-shade your model, often that's the problem, right? You pre-shade your model, you have a worn look paint already on your model once you put the paint over your pre-shading. Then you place the decals over there and they're like shiny and they have like plain surfaces, and it's just interfering with what you created, that worn look and the decals. So you have to put a lot of work into the decals. And I think with the new Eduard decals, you don't have to do this anymore, or not that much, because they are already type of painted. And you also, in my opinion, I will do more testing to break the curse of the new Eduard decals, and I think at the end it will turn out to be a gift and not a curse, because it will make it easier. Actually, I think once you get a grip with those decals, it will make our world easier, and it will make the decal solution manufacturer angry, because you don't need it anymore. You don't need that shit anymore. Maybe you use a little bit of setter to make the decals sit and set very beautifully. Then you just use water, or only water. You don't need no solution at all. Basically, you don't need no solution. We saw it worked very well without any solution. So there's more to come on this topic. We will break the curse of the new Eduard decals. Trust me. Yeah, the Rustyscale Show will keep your modeling mojo level high. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.